But Rob, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. And you? Are you enjoying the lockdown?
I am actually. At Sammy Ling, it's been really pleasant. Nobody can come in here. Then there are no guests who come in here to bother us at all,
Yeah.
and so we're just on our own, locked here. Um, More than enough food, very good weather. So yeah, it's actually been quite pleasant.
Well, we saw Lama Yeshe Rinpoche this morning, which was great. Thanks
Yes.
together. And here in the Cape, we're having beautiful weather, but that's normal. And I do a huge amount of exercise every day, walking round and round the house. So that's about it. We're not allowed out onto the road. The We're not allowed onto the golf course. So there's this beautiful, huge golf course stretching away into the space, and we can only look at it. But
You
that's
really can't even walk on the golf course because I know where you live. It seems very strange because you're in an
yeah,
enclosed area, aren't you?
that's right. Some old lady walked on the golf course a few days ago and got arrested and fined.
Oh, wow.
So they're being very strict here, and the police seem to be everywhere, even on this estate. But that's okay because we can do as much exercise as we want to, and I've got lots of time to catch up on old lectures and work that I've put aside for a long time. Margaret seems to be busy, so I'm actually hardly noticing the lockdown. It's not really affecting my life, and I don't mind how long it goes on for. But anyway, it's great to see all of you. I've had chats with the Cape Town group and also one of the Johannesburg groups. So we're making use of this facility on the TV on Zoom. Yep. I think we're on Zoom now, aren't we?
We are on Zoom, yes.
Good,
So I'm
right.
wondering if anybody would like to put any questions to Rob, either about the documentary you just saw, about the Mindfulness Association in general, or about mindfulness. Here's your chance, because here he is.
How big is our audience, Jim?
185.
Oh well.
Rob, may I just say something to you?
Sure,
So
you
I'm
can, of
in,
course, speak. Yeah, that's also fine. Jean, yeah, carry on.
yeah, I'm in Dublin in Ireland, and you came here about, oh, it could be 8 years ago, or now at this point, I can't remember, or 9 years ago. And it was just wonderful, your teachings. It was really an honor to actually be there and have you teach us. And you extended your stay, or you taught some insight for an extra 3 or 4 days. And I just felt so thankful and grateful to be able to be there and to have met you. And you were so generous in your time to each and every one of us. And I just want to say thank you.
Thanks, Jean. Dublin's one of my favorite cities, but I haven't been able to get back there for a long time. But I remember meeting really lovely people there, and we had some lovely times chatting and looking at lectures and so on. So thank you, and I look forward to getting back sometime.
Rob, I've got a good question for
Hello.
you here.
Yeah.
It said from Polly, it says, Rob, what has been your highlights of the last 10 years? I suppose that must be the 10 years of the Mindfulness Association, because this is the sort of commemoration of it.
Oh, my highlight.
Apart from working with me, of course, obviously that has to be your highlight, you know.
Oh, naturally, I wouldn't. I wouldn't doubt that. I think one of my highlights, and I was thinking about this morning, is Heather, because it was about 10 years ago that we dumped this job of making the Mindfulness Association work on Heather's shoulders. And I was just watching today how brilliantly she's done it. And I was really feeling huge gratitude towards her for taking on such a big job and making it work so brilliantly. So that really is one of my highlights. What are the others?
Well, Rob, there's quite a few questions coming, so maybe
Okay.
yeah, great. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Choden.
Yes.
Can I just say, Rob, this is Anna from Poland.
Anna, hi.
And thanks to you, we're 6 years down the track and doing very well.
Oh, good.
Yes, we're about to publish some books over here about mindfulness.
Oh, brilliant. We had a bit of correspondence. There was some guy who wanted to contact you.
Yes, I'm in touch with him, and I talked on Thursday. So first we're doing the second edition of Taming the Tiger, then we're publishing the mindfulness-based living course book, and then he'd like to do yours. So all good, Rob, and thank you for very much. You have so many students here.
Oh,
so many loving students. Thank you. You're wonderful.
Please give everyone my love and say I'm so happy to hear you're doing well.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Thanks for letting me say that, Choden.
Sure. This is another interesting question, Rob. What is your background? Have you trained in Buddhism? Have you trained in Buddhism, Rob?
Yeah, well, I most certainly have. I have the unique distinction of having been hit by the Dalai Lama. I asked him a stupid question. So I think that's a good start to my my Buddhist training. And of course, I've done a 4-year retreat, which is, I think, quite a lot of training. And I've attended hundreds of lectures by great teachers like Trengor Rinpoche and Taisita Rinpoche. So I've had quite a thorough background in teaching. And of course, I've read hundreds of books. And now I don't read any books at all, except if they're science fiction.
Anybody else would like to ask a question in person? That's fine too.
Rob,
one question is from Kathy. Did you ever imagine that so many people would benefit from your vision 10 years ago?
No, I didn't. I think modern communication and Heather have been the magic potion. And that's what's made it all happen. So what I love about it is that what we're doing is a really communal effort with lots and lots of people all working together with the same goal.
Sure. Did Susan want to ask a question? I think somebody here.
Rob, I was interested that one of the things that they said in the video was around that the language that you started to create about 10 years ago was slightly different from other people. And one of the things I've noticed is this part at the beginning, which I really love, about intention and motivation. Where did that really originate from?
The intention and motivation.
Yeah.
Well, the Lamas always focused on that. And in their lectures, they may not have been as specific as I've been, but they would always talk about the importance of intention, setting an intention, because that then directs all our energy in the correct direction. And motivation is one of the most important things in Tibetan Buddhism, because we're trained over and over again that our motivation is to benefit all beings and to shift the focus from our selfish goals to the goal of helping all others. So I think I've just sort of absorbed those from the general Buddhist teachings.
Thank you.
And entered them more specifically. Yeah, pleasure.
Thank you.
Rob, another question. What sci-fi are you reading? Somebody wants to know.
Actually, it's more, what do you call it? Fantasy. I'm reading fantasy about another world where all sorts of strange things go on, and as usual, people have got to kill one another, but luckily there isn't a lot of that in this particular one. But what I like about fantasy is the exploration of people's ideas of how other worlds can be.
A question here, do you have a vision of a training beyond insight? That's a good question. You know, so far we've got mindfulness, compassion, and insight. Do you have any sense of what might come next?
Oh, that's very interesting. Well, I suppose what I should ask is those of us who've been through the training, like you and Heather, mindfulness, compassion, insight, do we feel the need for something extra? And right off, I can't think of anything more. Maybe mindfulness, compassion, insight. Maybe now it's nothing, just being able to rest the mind in emptiness.
Well, maybe that's wisdom.
Wisdom, good.
Maybe wisdom's the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll wait for you to teach me some wisdom, Jaden.
Sure, Rob. Once I've learned it, I'll pass it on to you.
Thanks. I see Alan is there. I'm sure he can teach us some wisdom. Hi, Alan.
Dorothy would like to know if you've read the Alice in Wonderland book she sent.
Yes, indeed, I have. She sent the one with all the pictures, didn't she?
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoyed Alice in Wonderland. I've read it many times. And I've also read Through the Looking Glass.
From Gaia in Italy, dear Rob, here in Italy, we're running all the MA courses and they're going very well. You have many students here and we miss you so much in Venice. It's from Gaia.
Hello, Gaia. I miss Venice too.
Can we see Gaia?
No, we can't see Gaia, can we?
Can we?
Where's Gaia? Do you want to say something, Gaia? I don't know where you are.
So many.
Gaia. Okay.
Did you see?
No, it's Gaia.
The thing is, when there's so many people, it's quite hard to track down where people are.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I'm here. Hi, Rob.
Hi,
Hi.
Gaia.
Hey, Gaia, you're just below Rob. Oh, well.
Hi. Rob, we miss you in Venice. We really
Hi.
miss you. Happy to see you. And we just wanted to say that in Italy, we are doing the MA courses and they are doing very well. All the courses, also Mindfulness for Life. And you have so many students here in Italy. And so your legacy is very strong here.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, that's due to your hard work.
Yeah, but first of all to you and Heather, of course, Heather that came so many times and all the MA. So we are so grateful today to be here with you all. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, it'd be lovely if we could all get together in Venice sometime.
Yes, absolutely.
You can come as well and we'll have a big party.
Yeah, we will be very happy to organize that, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Great.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Gaia.
That sounds wonderful, Rob. It's Heather here. So it's lovely to see you here on Zoom.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of you today.
Yeah, so afraid so. Yeah, and some lovely memories of when we spent all that time in Italy with Gaia and Eleanor.
Yeah. Well, we must get together there again.
We'll definitely try once the lockdown is over. Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Airplane flying.
Rob, I've got quite another question here, sort of quite a big one.
Yeah.
What is your view of the direction the world is going in? Meaning, do you see people becoming more mindful and wise and compassionate or not?
Well, obviously, I can only talk for a very small part of the world. On the one hand, what I see is a huge increase in greed. And that's largely promoted by the media because people are advertising and trying to persuade people to buy more and more and more. But on the other hand, I find people are becoming more discerning. Maybe it's just the more intelligent people, and they are beginning to think more about the welfare of the world and preserving the planet we're living on, rather than tearing it to pieces, which is what the greedy people are doing. So I can see both of those things happening, and I just hope that the movement to saving the world can gather momentum, because otherwise, I know Akon Rinpoche said, if we go on like we are, very soon the planet will be unable to support us. So we won't have a home. So it's quite serious.
Are there particular ways mindfulness might evolve to meet the challenges of today? That's a good question from Donald, who I know well. Don?
I'm not sure to what degree it has to evolve. I think it's more a question of getting it into more and more areas of life. For example, about 10 years ago, I had a meeting with the Chief Justice of this country, and I said to him that the judges would benefit from mindfulness, and I explained it to him. And for a while, some of the judges actually tried it, and they were quite impressed, and they said they were going to carry on with it. So I think it's a case of seeing where mindfulness can go and how it can develop to meet the needs of different areas of our society, starting probably with professionals and then spreading more and more. As you know, we did quite a launch to get into the schools in the UK. And I think that's a very good area to concentrate on, to try and get more people in teaching mindfulness in the schools.
Rob, another question here. You talked in the film about mindfulness being taught in an inauthentic way. And Joe says sometimes it feels as though this has increased. How do we counteract this sort of mindfulness becoming inauthentic when there is a kind of oversaturation of the use of the term mindfulness, which may have influenced some people's idea of what it really is? Is that question clear? Yeah.
That is a big problem. And also the fact that some people are learning mindfulness just so that they can give courses and make a lot of money out of it. And the trouble is with anything like this, which is spreading under its own momentum, there's nothing we can do to stop it. To intervene directly and stop it. All we can do is what Heather is doing, present an organization which gives the world authentic mindfulness, where we're basing it on the original teachings and concentrating and focusing on the correct motivation and intention. That's why those two factors are so important, because we say, we keep saying to people, it's your motivation and intention that's important. And that is the basis of mindfulness.
There's a question here for Lana. I'd love to hear from Lana about how it was to make this documentary. Such a wonderful job you did, Lana. That's from Christine. So how was it, Lana, making the documentary? Do you want to say a bit? Where's Lana? I've unmuted you.
Hi, hello. Yeah, it was, as I said before, it was 1 year in the making, so it was a long time. So first the idea came about. I think me and Helen, we came up with the idea because I've heard that term year anniversary is coming up. So I was just thinking that it would be a lovely way to celebrate it. So, and then we just developed the idea. We interviewed lots of people, and it was challenging, of course, to link all the bits what I had into a one story. But yeah, I think it took the longest time just to trying to link it all up and to create like a logical flow. So I'm not really sure. I think it turned out well, but of course, if we had maybe more time, it could be a bit better. But I think we just did the best we could, really, you know, because it was challenging. Yeah, because there was so many elements what I wanted to include, but of course I had to leave some of them out. Otherwise, this documentary would be like 2 hours long. So maybe another documentary is coming up in the future. I don't know. We will see. Yeah, but I think I just want to thank everyone for your patience while I was interviewing you, and it was just lovely. I've enjoyed meeting people and getting to know their story, how they met Rob, and how they, you know, got connected to Mindfulness Association. It was just lovely to see how it all came together and just to get to know that story. So I've really enjoyed making this documentary. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for, you know, getting me involved.
Yeah, thank you, Lana. There was a question from Dean and Aisha. Rob, how important would you say it is to widen access to mindfulness to disadvantaged communities?
I would say it's very important and difficult because mindfulness requires effort, and it requires a lot of sustained effort. And not many people can understand that. And it takes them a while to realize its value and benefit. So unfortunately, most people in the world now are geared to the quick fix. And they either want techniques that work quickly, or they want substances that are going to be mind altering. So mindfulness is competing in quite a busy world. And I'm not sure, I think what we're doing is probably the best we can with the Mindfulness Association and with structured courses, because a lot of people like the idea of a structured course because they feel they're getting somewhere. So I think that's an area where we're working successfully. And it's probably also just that we are there giving the authentic version of mindfulness rather than the hyped up one that a lot of people are going for.
Let's see what other questions we have here. From Helen, hi Rob, how has your mindfulness practice impacted on your sense of being a man?
Oh.
There was a course, a workshop on mindfulness for men and women earlier, so it could be related to that.
Oh, really? On my sense of being a man? Well, my sense of being a man has never been threatened. So I don't think I had to remedy anything there. Yeah, I don't think I can answer that question.
Oh, don't worry, it's fine. Kitty said, I feel that the COVID pandemic has woken us all up and brought out some positive qualities and common humanity in the world. How can mindfulness help maintain the momentum?
Well, what it's emphasized is impermanence. And an aspect of mindfulness is learning to reflect. So once we've achieved a level of mindfulness, we can go into the area of reflection, which we've obviously dealt with quite a lot. And we can reflect on how mindfulness has affected our lives and how it's helped us face something like a pandemic. Because a lot of people get depressed and panicky and anxious about it. But I think if you're trained in mindfulness, none of those things would happen. You would just be able to accept that as part of the flow of life and accept it and see that it's an area of growth where you can become more open and accepting to things you don't like, and then focus more on impermanence. You know, the Buddha taught us impermanence is one of the main things we're facing in life. So it's bringing it home to us in a very real way, and therefore it can be seen as useful.
And there have been many expressions of thanks to you, Rob. I think somebody asked, do you have any plans to run any other retreats? You do things in Cape Town, don't you, Rob? I mean, you and I do things there sometimes.
Yeah, we do things in Cape Town. I've done retreats recently in Johannesburg. So once the pandemic is over, I'll probably go back to doing retreats. What I seem to do is quite short retreats these days. That's what a lot of people seem to prefer. So it's like a weekend or a week. But all the retreats and all the programs I do are quite well publicized, especially on the Johannesburg website.
Any
Rob,
yeah, carry on.
Here again. Now you're on Zoom. Maybe you can do something for us. Maybe help some, work with us on some retreats that are online, perhaps.
Yeah, sure. Are we on Zoom now?
You're on Zoom now. Yeah.
Yeah, well then we can do stuff.
Yeah, all our courses are now online. Our retreats and weekends and the masters and everything. And we've been doing an evening sit every day online for anybody who wants to come along. But yeah, it would be great if we could arrange something. That would just be awesome. Now that you're on Zoom.
Yeah, sure.
Brilliant. Watch this space.
So any final questions from anybody or anything Rob would like to say before we bring the session to a close?
Well, what I'd like to say is it's been lovely chatting to you. And are you guys all in shutdown as well?
Yes, definitely.
Good. So you've got a fantastic opportunity to do your practice. And what you can do now to make full use of it is to arrange your life around a program and program in a minimum of 3 or 4 hours of mindfulness every day. And that will stop you getting anxious and depressed, because I see from the radio and the TV that one of the biggest problems in the UK is depression and anxiety due to the lockdown. So you can defeat that by turning it into a very, very good retreat and make it something beneficial. So good luck to you.
Somebody asked a question, what do you feel about teaching mindfulness online? Because that's our only option now, really, is doing things like this. How do you feel about teaching mindfulness in this way?
No problem. I'm very happy to.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, nice to have you with us. Nice to hear what you had to say, Rob. It's always good to see you again.
Yeah, and thank you for making it happen.